was Austrian. My God, he sounded like Schwarzenegger. It was quite scary. I can't remember his name. The guy who was the project leader was Austrian, and he
Okay.
really sounded like Schwarzenegger. I was just waiting for him to start, like, yeah, waiting for him to start singing kids' songs or whatever they do on Hollywood Babylon these days. Chitty chitty bang bang, we love you. Whatever all that shit he does.
Oh God. Okay, I'll start recording.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I should probably do that as well. I am now recording. That's better.
Strong a bit. Yeah.
Stop that. No sky.
Okay. I think. Need more drugs. Ugh, all that coke. Ready whenever you are.
Yeah, I think I'm ready. Let me just check. It's not obvious. I don't know why I'm looking round as if I'm going to see something that's. Am I recording? I'm recording. Yeah, I think we're good. Let's just try it.
Let's do this show.
Go for it.
Here we go.
People of the capital wasteland, it is I, Three Dog, your ruler. Hear me and obey. Oh, sorry, that's that other radio station. Today's weather excessively violent with a chance of dismemberment. Tune in later for our 5-day forecast. And now a super important public service announcement. We all know the dangers of radiation, but with the right precautions, you can prevent accidental death or even ghoulification. Keep your eyes on those Geiger counters, kids. Tick, tick, tickety means run your ass out of there, and then pop some rat away for good measure. If you do need to head into the heat, be smart. Give yourself a nice boost of Rad-X first. Remember, only you can prevent human flesh fires. Now, some music.
Linux Outlaws is proudly sponsored by Bytemark UK. Check out their Big V platform for all your web hosting needs. Find out more at bytemark.co.uk. Six Gun Productions. New media, new rules.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Three Dog. No, that's that other radio station. I'm Fab from Isenhagen in Germany, where I'm killing flies because they're in the room. The fuckers.
Hello, everyone. This is Dan coming to you from Liverpool in the UK. It's been a while since I heard that Fallout stuff. We used that quite a bit. I seem to remember a while ago, the Three Dog thing.
I found
Fallout
an Android app where you can listen to Galaxy News Radio.
Okay.
Doing at work. It's cool.
So you're listening to the old-timey music.
Well, today I was at work really long, and I was sitting in the office, and pretty much everybody was gone, and I was sitting there and listening to the old-timey music from a little Android phone, which actually, when you crank it up, sounds remarkably like an old transistor radio.
Yeah, I was going to say they do sound quite like old those old tinny radios. Yeah. Well, I'm pleased to report there's no flies in this studio at the moment. Mainly because it's probably gone too cold already and they've all died because the weather's crap here as usual. But that's that's
winter
what we
is
expect.
coming.
Winter is coming, yeah, apparently.
By the way, I want to read these books this winter. I want to start on Game of Thrones finally.
Oh, okay.
That's my thing.
I did see that he reckons he's almost. I don't know if he's just trolling now, but he reckons he's nearly done with the next one.
He's probably trolling.
Yeah, I did hear.
Waiting for that.
Yeah, lots of people are waiting for that at the moment. Although by the time they get there, the TV show will be totally different anyway, the way things are going.
Yeah, they're changing everything. I heard. Not that I would know.
Yeah, I heard that as well. I mean, I know there's probably, given our audience, there's probably a high percentage of our audience who are really into Game of Thrones and watch it all the time. But as we've pointed out, I don't watch it at the moment. I just haven't got time, and I don't
Tell me
think
about it.
yeah, I don't think you do either. So
No, I want to read the books first, and I don't have time to read the books.
okay, yeah. But I heard I've got some friends who are kind of obsessed with it, and they were telling me that apparently George R.R. Martin, who's the writer, he is involved with the TV show. He's like an advisor or something, and he's told them not to do several things, which they've just done anyway. So they've killed some character that he said was very important that he was going to bring back, and they just killed them anyway, and different things. So I don't know. I'm not sure if they've fallen out or what, but be interesting to see. Maybe they forked the project, and now they're going to carry on.
He's feisty. If they piss him off, he's just gonna like rewrite it so their show can't work, just for the hell of it.
Probably, yeah. I do love that. I think we may have even played it on the show, or we certainly talked about it. That clip from I think it was last year's PAX, the Penny Arcade Expo, where Paul and Storm were doing the song on stage, and then he comes out and smashes the guitar. That was really good. Anyway, so we're not here to talk about that.
Myself some alcohol, some bone schluck.
That
later.
I was going to say we're going to talk about that a bit later. I've got a British 10 plus British XP at the moment. I'm drinking tea. So
my God, this stuff is so good. It's like herbs in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's like cinnamon. There's cinnamon in it and spices and shit, and it's
right.
Nobody else can drink it. Like my father wouldn't drink this.
Right.
Katie fucking hates it. I think it's brilliant. It's like it tastes like fucking. It tastes a bit like something you put in an engine to clean it, which is.
Brilliant. And do you drink that sort of thing often?
I'm exactly at that time of my life right now where I need to resort to this kind of shit.
It sounds a bit like the I'm sure we'll have many Red Dwarf fans. It sounds a bit like the Gelf Hooch thing that Lister's always drinking, which directly destroys your brain or something apparently.
That sounds like it. That's what I need right now because my brain's full of shit.
Okay. So you're on the mind bleach, by the sound of it.
Yeah, I need to.
Straight on the mind bleach.
Desperately. Anyway, let's get into tech stuff, and we'll start right with tech and Linux stuff, just to throw people a curveball who were expecting a 20-minute political discussion.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about the 9-year-old kid who shot her.
Oh yeah, I saw that today.
Yeah, I thought that was just brilliant.
Yeah. Well,
there's not much to say about that, except life stuff. And if you give a 9-year-old kid an Uzi,
there's going to be some
brace
trouble.
yourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we got some gaming stuff to talk about first. A long time ago. How long was it? Last year, sometime. It's hard to remember now.
February of 2013. Yeah, we had an episode called what was it called? Something with fish. I don't know. I'll look it up.
Fish.
You'll introduce us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. Yeah, we had an episode about The Journey Down, which is a game that we were interested in, very interested in actually, and it's available on all kinds of different platforms, available through Steam, which is probably an easy way to get it. It's an adventure game, and we talked about the first chapter was out last year, so the first kind of section of the game was out. Oh, here we go, ice cream van turning up early.
Well, it was episode 296, 3rd of February 2013. Salty Sea Dogs.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, Salty Sea Dog. I remember that. Yeah, well. The voice. Yeah, avast, you salty sea dog. Anyway, so we talked about the game then, and we both played through the first chapter and enjoyed it a lot. It runs on Linux, which is really interesting. You can get it through Steam, obviously, as we talked about. But the big news is that the second chapter has just been released, almost in the last few days, and we're going to try it out and see how it is.
Yeah, it's I think what I've seen of it is really cool, and I'm gonna play through it because I'm gonna review it. They were nice enough to give me a review key again. They're really cool guys. The guys from Sky Goblin who develop it.
Yeah, I've got to say, that guy, I can't remember his name now, the main character with the dreadlocks, really looks like you could do an impression of him when you had the dreadlocks, maybe?
Yeah, his name is Anthony Sardinia. He plays Buana.
Buana, that's it, yeah, very cool. We'll put a picture in the show notes, but that screenshot looks a bit weird. The cactus kind of carefully placed there, so it looks like the guy's got like a cactus dick or something.
Yeah, that's why I chose it. That's just from the beginning. I didn't really have time to play it yet, but it's really well. It ends. You know, they go down the waterfall thing
at the end of the first chapter.
Obviously, they get the planes upside down, and then they actually end up in a fishing net.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I won't spoiler anymore. That's like the first 10 seconds of the.
Okay. Everything. Yeah, it's a really great adventure game,
it's really
point and click adventure game in the Monkey Island kind of style.
Yeah, it reminds me of Monkey Island because it's got an atmosphere. It's got its own atmosphere. It's a bit like Monkey Island because it's Caribbean, but it's also like it's got the African masks and it's very cool. So film noir. The second bit's a bit more. I think it's like set in a town with like lots of fog, and there's jazz music, and it's just got that very nice style.
The style of the kind of the characters, if you like, the designs of them. I mean, reminded me a little bit of Little Big Planet or something like that as well. Those kind of puppety kind of styles.
Because it's cell shaded.
Right.
I think and they, it's like handcrafted environments which they rendered out, and it's just a very cool little game.
Yeah.
And I hope the second one's as good. Second chapter's as good. The first one, apparently they're doing 4 now.
Okay, cool.
Well, we'll see. I'm sure I'm gonna talk about it here. And I really want to do a Steel Rain episode about this.
Cool. It's been a while.
Too long.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
If you want to get the game, you can go to thejourneydown.com, which is a nice and easy address for you, thejourneydown.com. And obviously links will be in the show notes if you want to check that out. Okay then. So SteamOS, when we mentioned Steam there, because that game's available on Steam. SteamOS, there's an update apparently. I don't know much about this. So what's the news in this? Is there anything big in it, or is it?
Well, it's just
updated Linux kernel.
It's been a while since I've seen any SteamOS updates. Update 1.33. It updated the kernel, new network drivers, got new NVIDIA drivers, and new VDPAU. So just minor stuff, but it's new SteamOS, always good. This is like the week of shitty non-releases. I've got a new Git version 2.1. It's got nothing in it, which is not surprising because they changed their release schedule to have more releases, which means less features.
Yeah.
It's a bit.
Yeah. There's a Git 2.1 is out now. Minor features, apparently. It's I don't know. There's that much difference on it, but Git continues to
small stuff. And then we have KDE SC 4.14. It's the apps. It's the KDE desktop, which it's got nothing in it because we talked about they switched to the what they called Frameworks 5. So they froze everything else, and so now the applications have some stuff. As they say in their release schedule, KDE applications 4.14 is not about lots of new and improved stuff. It's about improvements and shit.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, if you want to know about any non-releases, where the people to ask, I think. But one thing that I would say isn't a non-release. This week, one thing I'd say wasn't a non-release is, it depends how you want to pronounce it. Calibre or Calibre 2.0 has come out, and that's the ebook converter. Well, the tool a lot of people use to convert things from Amazon formats and strip out things like DRM and so on. On many formats.
Twist, in fact, is pretty much a non-release. At least if you weren't current. So I put a link in the show notes. There's all the new features since 1.0. But if you were running, I think the last version was 1.48, and there's nothing really new. They just incremented the version number.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I mean, I was looking at this ebook editor that they've added and so on. That was in 1.48.
Yeah, they added that between 1.0 and 2.0.
Fair enough. So the biggest new feature, according to this anyway, is the ebook editor, which means it allows people to edit ebooks in EPUB format or in the AZW3 Kindle format as well. That's quite cool. It says now because of the move to Qt 2.5, Calibre no longer supports Windows XP. Damn. Yeah. Or OS X.
That's actually pretty much the biggest new thing in 2.0.
Yeah, they've removed XP support. And it doesn't support any versions of OS X lower than 10.7, which is Lion. So old. Yeah, that's pretty old. So if you're using one of those, you should probably.
You shouldn't use that anyway.
Well, you should probably get yourself a new OS for a start. But first of all, and then don't try and use this because it's not going to help.
Get yourself a fucking computer that computes.
A computer that computes. Yeah. So that's out now. I don't know. I'm still undecided on the pronunciation. I think Calibre. I'm going to say that just because it's spelled like.
The developer says Calibre.
No, damn. I want to say Calibre.
But that.
Oh, what does he know anyway? Or what do they know?
It should be called Calibrum.
Oh, okay.
Like Latin, you know.
Yeah.
I've been reading The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire again, in case you can't tell.
I guess, yeah. All right, and so another release. There's a few releases this week, actually. So, version 3.3 of Groupware, collab.org, has been released.
Yeah. We were saying shitty releases. This is huge, apparently. This release, and I quote, "This release is the one with the most new features of all time." They're German.
Is that? Do they mean that's the most new features for their project, or are they claiming it's the best release ever of any project?
I think the first thing, but
fair enough.
So. It is the best release of all time. We have conquered all of the known Earth. Earth. Engage the earthquake machine.
Yeah.
You know that the Ming the Merciless from Flash Gordon, where he's like, "Oh, what plaything have you brought me today? It's a planet the inhabitants call Earth."
That's right. Yeah.
Earth. And then he goes and pushes a button, a button he has in a spaceship that's labeled Earthquake. Also, there's a earthquake because
there's that one you said about hot rain or something, wasn't it? Or something.
Hail. It's amazing. They have there's shirts that say hot hail, which sounds like an amazing sex practice or something. It's just like
I thought it was more like a sexy Nazi salute or something. Hot hail, that would be, wouldn't it?
It's Hitler dressed in lingerie. It's like the hot hail.
Take a drink, everybody. You're welcome.
Take a Bullenschluck.
Yeah, I just swigged my tea, but it's not quite the same. So sorry. Meanwhile, back at collab.org, or collab.
It cleans your engine.
Yeah, so collab.org is attempting to basically make a load of free software, to unify a load of free software communication tools so you can run them on your own server.
Collab.org. Hot Heil?
Hot Heil, yeah. And they have some hosted solutions as well, like mycollab.com, which I think allows you to use it on their hosting, basically. But it does email and calendar in and all the stuff you'd expect from a reasonably useful communication tool. I'm just looking at it, the biggest release ever. So why is that then? I'm just trying to see what they've got here. It's now possible to add tags to email messages.
That's huge, isn't it? Tags.
Yeah. They are shown prominently in the message list before the subject of your mails. Okay, so isn't that like the labels thing in Gmail? Sounds a bit like the labels in Gmail.
And now, in the right corner.
So in the future, we plan on using the new tagging system in all Collab modules. So the same tags can be used for emails, contacts, events, and tasks.
Yay! Collab! What do you want? I want the total collab.
Yeah, so basically it means you could, I could tag all of my appointments and emails and events and, contacts even, or tasks with sixgun.org or with Linux Outlaws or something if I wanted to group them together, I suppose. Not quite convinced about the usefulness of that, really. But anyway, it says Collab 3.3 will be able to work with notes right in the web client. Okay, so they've got a web editor, but I think it says you can have multiple notebooks and share them with different people. So that sounds a bit like they've got Hackpad in there somewhere. The notes are automatically synchronized with the Collab desktop client. That's quite cool. And you'll be able to synchronize them to your mobile devices via the ActiveSync protocol. Okay, so they're using ActiveSync. That's interesting. I didn't know anyone still used that.
Yeah, apparently.
Well, that makes me think of Palm Pilots from 10 years ago.
My HP Compaq.
Yeah.
Thing was.
Yeah, we had ActiveSync on our computers about 10 years ago at work when I worked there. And for all the people who had, a Palm, some kind of PDA type thing. Anyway, so, it says resources are things like cars, projectors, or meeting rooms. What's this about? Resources. Okay, so you can...
It's for companies. So,
only be used by one group of people at the same time. Oh, I see. So what they're saying is you can book the projector and say, and if someone else tries to do it, it will say, sorry, someone's used the projector at that time.
So the hookers are already engaged.
We've added a dedicated resource selection dialog, which allows you to search and browse through all available resources, displays additional information and attributes for the individual resources, as well as an availability calendar based on the free/busy data published for any given resource. Okay, interesting. Finally, it says internally all address books, calendars, task lists, etc. are folders.
To put music under this.
Yeah, maybe some of that kind of lift music, hold music. I don't know. It says, so far we did not hide that fact well from...
Oh. Go on.
So that sounds really loud on this end. Can we trim it down a bit? Okay, I'm having trouble hearing what I'm saying. Anyway, so it says, so far we did not hide the fact well from users. That sounds even louder.
I'm trying to. It's hard.
Down, lower. That's louder. That's better. That's better. That's much better, yeah. So, sorry about that. Anyway.
He can't hear his own thoughts.
I want to do like a jazz voice now, because you've done that. Internally, all address books, calendars, task lists, etc. are folders. So far, we did not hide that fact well from users. Collab 3.3 introduces a new folder navigation view that allows you to search and subscribe to shared calendars, addresses. I'm putting myself to sleep now. Address books, task lists, etc. directly from within. Yeah, I'm going to stop now because anyway, basically, it's got all kinds of new shit in it, and it's apparently it's apparently the biggest release ever of all time of Collab. So there you go. Have you tried any of the Collab stuff? I've never actually tried it.
What is it with this fucking project? It's like fucking LibreOffice. There's like, I don't know if it's because it's Germans involved or because it's Office software.
Those bloody Germans.
It's the best release ever. It's so awesome. It's like their stuff hardly fucking works. Like LibreOffice is just like on the brink of just working.
Well, that's right? It's easy to make it the best release ever.
Microsoft Word is like fucking 5 years ahead of them, and like with this collab, I don't like Exchange and all that, but if you use that in a company, that's like light years ahead of this. And they're like, we're the best ever. We're so awesome. We've got like 356 committers.
Well, that's PR for you, though, isn't it? I mean, that's
penis envy.
That's what people do if they're trying to hype themselves up. I mean, they're not going to come out and say we're shit, are they?
But proprietary, first of all, proprietary software, Office software doesn't do that. Then a lot of other open source projects don't do that. It's just like all the Office people. It's like because they think they sell to enterprise and they need to adopt that or something.
Do enterprise people really go for that?
No, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
I do really like the idea that somewhere there's some guys on a train reading like the business news or something and going, "Do you know it's the biggest release ever? We should probably look at this. We should look at this. Get me the IT department on the phone. But it's the biggest release ever. No. Oh, okay. All right. Anyway.
Why do you say on a train? I don't
know. It just seemed like an appropriate setting for.
I'm on the train.
Yeah, you always get that. I was on a train yesterday. I had to go to Birmingham for work yesterday. On the train back.
You work in Birmingham now?
No. I had to go there for a job yesterday. It's okay. It was like an hour and a half, or an hour and 45, something like that. It is weird though. It shows you how much faster the trains to London are because they've got the tilting trains. It took me an hour and 45 minutes to get from Liverpool to Birmingham. It takes me 2 hours and 10 minutes. So like about 25 minutes more, 20 to 25 minutes more to get to London, which is like as far away again. It's like twice the distance. Yeah. So also the train stopped at every fucking station in the world. Some I didn't even know existed.
This reminds me of
end of nowhere.
Dave's camping in Germany right now.
I heard, yeah.
Like German, the ICE is so awesome. It's so awesome. He's actually in the news.
Wow.
Because
he's in the news.
Well, the ICE he was in the news because they ran over a guy and had to stop. And then he was in a hotel. He was tweeting me. He was in a hotel in the middle of fucking nowhere. In like Ingolstadt or somewhere in Bavaria because the fucking train. And then his song is like, "Oh yeah, I see German railway is awesome if it works, if they don't run over people." And now I'm sitting in a fucking hotel in the middle of nowhere. He was tweeting and I'm like, "Why are you tweeting? Why do you got internet in the field?" And he's like, "I'm in a hotel." And I'm like, "I thought you were camping. You're cheating." And then he's like, "No, the train ran over somebody."
Right, okay. But that, ironically, it still wasn't late, though. They were just plowing through.
They just didn't arrive at their destination, which is worse.
Well, I hope they got the hotel paid for by the...
I fucking hope so, too, yeah.
Because that's pretty ridiculous,
isn't it? Deutsche Bahn usually does that when they run over somebody.
Yeah, I can't remember why I originally started that point. But anyway, I went off onto trains...
Katie had an old colleague at work who was advocating they have guillotines at train stations because of all the people that kill themselves. He's just like, just put a guillotine, like
so they can use
photo booth. They're just a guillotine booth. They just go inside. Ching! You're dead. It's clean. You're not annoying the commuters.
That sounds a lot like the suicide booths in Futurama.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, possibly. So, I can't remember why I said this anyway. So I ended up going to Birmingham yesterday, and the train stopped everywhere in the world. I didn't even know, some places I didn't even know existed.
Mitzi is so awesome. He says about the ICE incident. They had to stop and reverse to make sure he was dead.
I saw that, yeah.
That just reminds me of the ICE bucket challenge. The fucking ice bucket way. How could you not? I had to go.
Yeah, the ALS.
With Facebook because of this fucking thing. Because my friend started doing it. I like the German comedian. Like a few days after this whole thing kicked off, he did the ICE bucket challenge, which is a guy in front of like a German. The German fast trains are called ICEs, Intercity Express. He's like in a bucket in front of the train. Take the ICE bucket challenge.
That sounds like quite a challenge. Yeah, everybody's doing that thing, aren't they? Yeah.
That's so
Did you know the guy who invented it died about a week ago? He came up with the idea for this campaign.
I don't want to say
he died in like a diving accident or something last week.
I don't want to say it's karma, but like fucking karma.
Yeah. He died in a diving accident or something, or a boating accident, I heard.
He's ruined social networks, that's for sure.
Well, he's also raised a shit ton of money for the the ALS Foundation or whatever it is.
Which is a fraction of the money they don't get because the NIH isn't funding them anymore.
Yeah, true.
Also, I think the thing people don't understand is like the problem is this is as a neurodegenerative disease.
Stephen
Hawking. Stephen Hawking has, I think, right?
I don't know. I thought it was different. To the anyway. Go on. We're probably splitting hairs here.
It's not going to get cured just because you threw millions of dollars on it. Just a hint.
Well, I think you're being I agree, but I think you're being a bit harsh there. I think maybe the fact that they're trying to, what's the word? They're trying to alleviate suffering of people who are dying of this disease. That's got to be worth something, If you
it is,
had a relative who was dying, you'd want them to be comfortable and all the rest of it.
Yeah, but still, it's I don't know. I don't think people are doing it because of that. I think they're doing it because of ego. Katie actually used to the institute she worked at in Bonn. Was working on curing another neurodegenerative disease, which is basically the same thing. You get it when you're really young, and then your chances to survive beyond 15 are really small. And the guy who ran the institute was one of the world-renowned people trying to cure that and stuff. But it's I like the stuff where they just put beside that people dying from this whatever disease, and then it's people dying because they don't have access to clean water, which is 10,000 times that number, and just people are just bathing in cold water because they think it's cool. And friends of mine who I haven't seen since school who created fucking YouTube accounts. Who've never done anything on the internet beyond being on Facebook, who created fucking YouTube accounts for this bullshit.
Well, it's the ultimate meme, isn't it? It's something for people to join in with. Meanwhile, I've been doing some research here, and you're right. I didn't realize it's the same thing. So, I can't pronounce it. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, is apparently the same thing as Lou Gehrig's disease. It was renamed. I didn't realize that, and it is what Stephen Hawking has as well. I thought. I know Lou Gehrig was wasn't he an American footballer or something? Or he was. I'm going to look him up actually because people will be laughing at me now. But he's not as famous as he's a baseball player. Sorry. Okay, so I knew he was a sports person.
Same thing. Baseball, football.
Fair enough. I was going to say. I'm just looking at his kind of birth and death dates and stuff. I was going to say surely Stephen Hawking is a lot more famous than Lou Gehrig. Why isn't it called Stephen Hawking's disease?
Well, usually you don't name a disease after some guy who's got it.
Well, usually, that's why it was called Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yeah, but that's probably why they renamed it, because that's not what you do, because that poor guy is then associated with that. Usually it's named after the guy who discovered it, which is even worse, I think. But yeah.
Possibly, it's he was around. He was born in 1903 and died in 1941. So he was obviously predated Hawking by a long way. Maybe that's something to do with it. Anyway, meanwhile, I'm just having a fit of hiccups for some reason, just kicked in.
Yeah, we need to cure that. We need a meme to cure that.
We need a meme to cure that. Meanwhile, what were we talking about? I can't even remember. Let's do the next.
I want to give credit to Total Biscuit because I know the Steve Hawking thing from Total Biscuit because he did the ice bucket challenge, which was kind of cool. He's so it's either pouring cold water over your head or donating $100. So I'm sure as fuck not gonna donate $100. So here we go, and he just pours the bucket and just money comes out, and he's like, oh, let's make that $1,000.
Excellent.
From Charlie Sheen who did that. But
Charlie
my favorite
Sheen
was still Patrick Stewart, who writes a check, puts the check aside, grabs a bucket, grabs a glass, gets ice cubes out of the bucket, very slowly and deliberate, puts them in the glass, gets a bottle of whiskey, puts it on the ice, and then just drinks himself a whiskey and smiles into the camera.
Fair enough. All right, and so meanwhile, back at the show, the next story is in German.
What was the show?
The next story is a German story, or it's in German, so you're going to have to read this one.
Oh, yeah, I didn't find an English release about this. This is a new version of Cryptool. I recently learned what Cryptool is. Cryptool is cool. It's software that you can use. If you click on the story, even though it's in German, I'll put a link in the show notes. There's a screenshot I put on there. It's a tool for learning crypto algorithms and stuff. And they show you how it visually works. So if you look at on the story, if you look at the screenshot, that is a visual representation of Enigma, how the Enigma cipher machine worked.
Yeah, the code. Yeah.
And it explains how that works, and it does that for all kinds of stuff.
Das Enigma.
Das Cipher, that was unbreakable until the Polish broke it, and the fucking Polish, and then the British said they invented breaking it.
Well, maybe they did it for us as
fuck your Bletchley Park. We would have won the war if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
Now you're making me think of that. What's his name? Was it a German? What was he now? I can't remember. There's that brilliant clip from one of the. I think it was the 1990 World Cup. There's a brilliant clip of that commentator when. I think it was when England lost to Germany, or I think it was Germany, or somebody like that, where that guy's going like, Margaret Thatcher, Winston Churchill, and he just names this massive long name of like English people, and then he goes, your boys took one hell of a beating. He doesn't sound Indian. I don't know why I kind of sounded Indian, but anyway.
I haven't seen that. You need to do
I'll try and find it. Because it's an audio clip, it'll be So talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, basically, you can do that. I don't know. We could have done this, and you fucking meddling British people, and your fucking code breakers.
It was Norway apparently.
Norway.
It was Norway. Norway beat England 2-1 in 1981, and let me see if this will come out now. So this is a really famous clip of this commentator who just goes absolutely
from?
Presumably Norway. He just goes absolutely apeshit crazy. Here we go. Let's see. It says I can't pronounce his name. Bjorgi Lillinen. Famous 1981 commentary after Norway beat England 2-1 in the World Cup qualifier. Maggie Thatcher, your boys took one hell of a beating. Right, here we go.
England, Kjempesföderland, Lord Nelson, Lord Beaverbrook, Sir Winston Churchill, Sir Anthony Eden, Clement Attlee, Henry Cooper, Lady Diana, jag slått dem allesammen, Maggie Thatcher, can you hear me? Maggie Thatcher, your boys took a hell of a beating.
He just goes out shit. Yeah.
Just imagine he was a German. Just imagine we would do that. We would win against England, and then we would go, I'm Maggie Thatcher! Your boys took one hell of a beating! What the fuck?
Yeah, that probably wouldn't be very popular. It's very hard to understand that, so I hope people came through.
But that makes it even better.
Yeah, I suppose it does, yeah. All right, and so...
I want that on the soundboard. I'll put that on the soundboard. It's just like the, what, your boys took one hell of a beating!
Thatcher!
It could be Indian as well. That could be Indian if you don't know. It's like,
maybe.
Boys took one hell of a beating!
Maybe. Was that your Indian voice? That was less Indian than your normal voice.
That was my weird. Sound a bit like Roy from IT Crowd voice.
No, you just sound like you're going to go, I'm disabled.
Exactly.
That's what you sound like you're going to do.
I am the bullets. Look, mate, me disabled.
What's wrong with you? Leg disabled. Oh, what a brave boy.
I love that episode. Filmed in New Wimbledon Theatre, by the way, where I lived around the corner.
Yeah, you said. You mentioned that, yeah. I do like that. Gay. A gay musical.
Yeah.
That's fairly gay.
Roy is just amazing, just the way he just talks.
Yeah.
I hate people.
Yeah. Anyway, so moving on. Discourse. Maggie Thatcher. Discourse, which is the software we use for the Saloon at saloon.sixgun.org. If you want to get involved over there, it's fair to say it's something of a revolution for forum software. Anyway,
it's a revelation
as well. Which, to be honest, was. Forum software was pretty dire, wasn't it?
It was a long time coming.
Yeah, they've released a new version. Basically, is the
Dave has released it.
Yeah, Dave's released a new version. So they've released version 1.0 or 1.0.
Yes, and I would have completely missed this were it not for a helpful listener who wrote to the news.sixgun, the newsroom at sixgun.org email address and told me about this.
Excellent. So they've got a new version out. I love their statement on this. It says, today we are incrementing the version number of Discourse to 1.0. We've been working on Discourse in public for about a year and a half now, since February 2013. Turns out that's about how long it takes to herd an open source project from, hey, cool toy, to something that works for most online discussion communities. Version numbers are arbitrary, yes, but version 1 does signify something in public. We believe Discourse is now ready for wide public use. It says, that's not to say Discourse can't be improved. I have a mile-long list of things we still want to do, but products that are in perpetual beta are a cop-out. Eventually, you have to ditch the crutch of the word beta.
Is that a movie with Kevin Smith?
Yeah, it could be. It could be, yeah. And be brave enough to say, yes, we're ready. I like that, because you do get a lot of products, particularly Google were bastards for this. They're like, Gmail was in beta for about 5 years, wasn't it? It seemed
Google
to be.
are bastards.
Yeah. It says we're also, at long last, unveiling our hosted service and install service at discourse.org/buy. B-U-Y. I haven't looked at that. I'm going to have a look at that now.
Yeah, it lists who's using it.
Okay. Are we on there? Probably
no.
not. Why the hell not?
Canonical is. This is Jeff Atwood writing, by the way, who's doing it, who also did Stack Exchange. He's known by the name of Coding Horror. Also on the webs. Yeah.
Holy shit! There's some big companies on here.
Yeah. Also,
HBO?
it's deep. It's $200 a month. There will be $100 a month plan, which isn't available. The enterprise plan is $1,000 a month.
Jesus.
You can pay them $100 one time, and they install it for you.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. None of our current plans fit your budget, it says.
And you'll have to pay $10 a month to
hosting fee.
Cisco uses Twitter, GitHub, Ubuntu, Boing Boing, Oculus. Yeah.
So it's I'm just looking at what you get for the. Yeah, I'm looking at what you get for the money, basically. So it says blah blah blah. You get a single sign-on, SSL, blah blah blah. Unlimited members, 10 staff users. 250,000 monthly page views. Interesting. It's not cheap though, is it? I mean, look at that, $200 a month. Anyway, but you're right.
Interestingly, Gearbox uses it. The game developers.
Yeah, you've got some big companies here on their list, like Cisco, for example, as we mentioned. GitHub, interesting. Twitter. Okay. Docker is mentioned there, which we've talked about a lot.
.com.
Yeah, there's quite a few on there.
Folksy.com.
Oh, if you click on it, it'll probably come up. Hang on.
I'm looking at it. It looks like a Pinterest kind of Etsy kind of thing. I don't know.
Okay, I'm just trying to find out now. He looks a bit like okay. That is a bit like Pinterest, isn't it? I don't know what the fuck that is, to be honest. Contact Folksy.
You can buy stuff.
Folksy community. Selling on Folksy,
clone.
Yeah, it says you can buy and sell stuff on here. It doesn't say what the fuck it is though. I'm looking under their questions, under the frequently asked questions, and what the fuck are you isn't on there.
Yeah, they're gonna say answer. We cloned Etsy because we want their money.
Well, why not? Somebody was gonna do it. Anyway, so I'm looking at these Parrot champagne glasses, £24. They look hideous.
As featured in The Guardian.
Apparently, yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe they're like hipsters.
Poppies.
Maybe they're like a hipster thing or something.
Pottery all.
Gifts for gardeners. Here we go. Live website reviews going on here. Gardener's hand cream. It's one of the first results. Interesting. Anyway, so off the topic of Folksy, Discourse 1.0 is out now. It's very cool. People seem to really like it on the Saloon, don't they? Even the old. I think we talked about this last time. Even some of the old kind of. I don't want to use the word curmudgeons, but some of the people who were less keen to move.
They are.
all right, okay, I'll use the word. Even some of the old curmudgeons, they very quickly decided that they liked it and it was better. So that's
we
a
say
good thing.
that in a loving manner. We love our
Yeah.
curmudgeons.
I consider myself a curmudgeon.
Yeah, me too.
I
You
wear
kids.
the title. Right, yeah, get off my lawn.
Nearly won a world war if it wasn't for you.
Yeah, with your long hair and your saggy
you
pants and
ruined
all
two
that.
fucking world wars.
Yeah. 2 world wars. Anyway, yeah.
It's
So
a big effort, you know.
it is a big
Fucking
effort. Yeah.
Tanks we had to build.
Yeah.
Jeez Christ.
Come back for round 2. Anyway, so a big story actually that I didn't know about until I read this in the notes today is the PlayStation Network has been hacked once again. I thought it was a mistake when I looked at this. I thought, oh, it must be an old story that's, accidentally ended up in here. But no, sure enough, the PlayStation Network, Sony's PlayStation Network, has been hacked once again. And this time, well, Sony are claiming they didn't know personal information was stolen, which I'm sure they would claim anyway. But considering last time they lost something like 77 million users' personal details, including, I think, some credit card stuff as well. This time they're saying they haven't lost any of that, but they did manage to seriously disrupt one of Sony's top executives' travel plans when a group of hackers calling themselves the Lizard Squad. They I don't know what that's about, but they're
headed by Queen Elizabeth, I think.
Oh, you mean David Hawking. So they infiltrated Sony's PlayStation Network, as we said, and they basically discovered what flight one of the top American executives was on.
Well, actually, they didn't get that from the.
Okay.
If you look at it on Twitter, the guy tweeted on Twitter, "I'm going on that plane to whatever."
Mm.
So the Lizard Squad tweeted at American Airlines, "There's this guy on your plane, and there's explosives in his luggage." And they diverted the plane. Apparently, you can divert planes with a single tweet. Well, if people realize that, it's not going to cause trouble at all.
Yeah. Although I did like
check these things. Like, isn't there somebody at the FBI going, "Oh, a guy called the Lizard Squad"? He's believable. We're gonna divert that plane, of course. Yes, sir. Right now.
I think the problem is that I think if the volume of these kind of incidents goes up, then I don't know how they'll be able to respond to it. But I think
divert every fucking man. Don't.
Well, I was going to say that's not going to work, is it? But
anymore.
I think to be fair to them, they would say they have to take every threat seriously, but it does seem a bit crazy. So anyway, this guy John Smedley, who's the president of Sony Online Entertainment, which makes video games, obviously. His plane was on his way from, where was he now? He's on his way from, I think it was it Dallas? No, he's on his way to San Diego. Yeah, he was on his way from Dallas to San Diego when the FBI saw this tweet, and American Airlines got this tweet and contacted them and worked out. Anyway, so they brought the plane down in Phoenix, Arizona, and took it to a private area of the airfield, it says. And then they let the passengers off, and then they scanned all their luggage and went through everything.
Yeah, it's not annoying at all.
And then eventually they ended up getting back on the flight and just continuing their journey, if you like, to San Diego. But it does show that these guys managed to, whoever they are, managed to really seriously fuck up this guy's day. Although I didn't realize it was because he tweeted that they found that information, so I'm slightly less sympathetic to him. If you tweet this information, then you're kind of letting yourself in for it, I suppose, to some degree.
I don't know.
If they'd stolen the information from somewhere else, then it would be a bit different. But I think if you publicly say, "Hey, I'm on this flight," and then somebody tries that's a bit stupid. Well, no, it's not stupid. You can't blame someone else for them knowing you're on that flight. I did find you were saying about this business of you were saying about this business of them taking how seriously they take these threats. I really enjoyed the little bit about the 14-year-old girl who, basically she was arrested in the Netherlands, in Holland, in April apparently of this year. It was a 14-year-old girl who tweeted at American Airlines that she was part of Al Qaeda and she was, in quotes, going to do something really big bye. And then American Airlines replied 6 minutes later that it was turning the matter over to the FBI, at which point the girl quickly shat herself and started posting tweets like, I'm just a girl, and I didn't do it, I never did it. So, yeah, and she got arrested for that, apparently. So don't make idle threats, people. It's not
a fucking joke.
It's not big and it's not good. Well, we had the Twitter joke trial, didn't we? We talked about...
It's ridiculous.
About the guy making the joke on Twitter about bombing Nottingham Airport.
I'm not saying making bomb threats at airlines is fun or anybody should do it or whatever, or it should be legal or whatever, but doesn't the FBI have something fucking else to do? There's a whole town in the US where fucking is rioting because the police is fucking racist fucking bastards, and they're arresting like 14-year-old girls on Twitter. I mean, what the fuck?
That wasn't in America, though. That was in Netherlands, apparently.
What? So, this is the Netherlands Federal Police. Don't they have anything else to do?
Yeah, they're too busy, being stoned and eating pancakes.
Fuck.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, the thing that I took away from this actually when I was reading it was, Sony claimed that they'd secured all the stuff with, they'd really worked hard on beefing up the security on the PlayStation Network. Clearly, they didn't do a very good job of it.
Well, this is just mostly DDoS, as far as I can tell.
Oh, okay. So they didn't actually get any information. They just did. Well, that's a bit different.
They're just DDoSing them.
Okay,
anyway,
fair enough.
I'm distracted because I went to the Discourse site and one of their customers, Lockitron, which apparently is an app and a thing you put on your door, and the iPhone app unlocks your door.
Is that a good idea?
Keys. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. And they're like, "Oh, it's easy. It's great. Peace of mind." Hey, if your kid unlocks your door, it can send you a message so you can spy on your fucking children. Yeah, this is going to be secure,
Also, I mean, is it really less likely that you're going to lose your phone than your keys? I mean, you could just as easily lose your phone and not be able to get into your house.
Well, I guess,
or it could get stolen.
Yeah, but you can have more phones. I don't know. It's ridiculous. This is not secure. I'm willing to bet that the protocol, whatever they're using, is not secured properly.
Well, I was just going to say, I'd like to know how easy it is to spoof that bit stuff, for someone else to just go up and go beep and then open your front door.
Give that to Harold Welter or Freaky Cloud, and they're like, oh look, 2 minutes with Wireshark and I'm in your fucking house.
Yeah. Although to be
it's
fair,
not like other locks can't be picked, but still.
Well, I was just going to say, to be fair, I know Freaky Clown for one is into picking locks, isn't he? So
well, that way, yeah, there are lots of hackers. I mean, that would work, but with any luck, this has got a cloud server attached to it, and you can just do a buffer overflow on the server, SQL injection or something, and then lock everybody's door or something. It'll be like fucking Batman, Dark Knight, like Bane.
Maybe, but the key with all these things is probably the easiest thing to do. Yeah. That wasn't meant to be a pun, but I mean, it's probably the easiest thing to do. If I've learned anything about hacking, is probably just phone the support line and go, "Oh, someone's stolen my phone. I'm stuck outside my house. I can't get in. I can hear the babies crying in the house. I've got to get in. You don't understand." Until they go, "All right, I'll just let you in." That's usually the easiest way to get into anything.
That or just kick the fucking door in.
Oh, that as well, yeah, I suppose. Anyway, so meanwhile, on the world of moving smoothly onto the world of Linux kernel development, they've decided to implement two-factor authentication for people who are committing stuff on their Git repositories, which
kernel developers.
Kernel developers, yeah, which makes sense actually. So I didn't realize this, but for a long time, according to it says for a few years now. Anyway, they've had a mandatory use of a private SSH key, which they issue to each developer, and they have to use that to authenticate themselves to kernel.org, where obviously everything's developed. But as they say here in this post, SSH keys are more secure than passwords, but there are still a number of ways for SSH private keys to fall into malicious hands. That's true. So it says, keeping that in mind, we wanted to further tighten our access requirements without causing too many difficulties to kernel developers. And basically what they're doing is they're implementing two-factor authentication, and they're going to use hard tokens, what they're calling hard tokens, which are those little physical key fob
keys.
Like the key fob things that you get, as opposed to soft tokens. Do you know? I'm sure you knew this already, but I'd never really heard people describe them as hard tokens and soft tokens. I hadn't really thought of it in that way, but it makes sense.
They made that up.
Oh, maybe, yeah. So anyway, it's basically they're using it as a way of describing a hard, physical device as opposed to a piece of software that runs. And so the soft token being a piece of software does the same thing. So anyway, they're saying they want kernel developers to start doing this, and they mentioned things like the YubiKey, for example, and so on. And then they actually. Well, I was building up to that.
Oh, sorry.
It's hard to tell a story and build a narrative when you just tell people the end. All right, so fair enough.
Sorry.
Spoilers, yeah. So fair enough. Yeah. Anyway, so they were. They were.
Fucking dies.
They want.
And it's Snape, and he just means well.
Yeah. They didn't. They didn't want to. They say they didn't want to enforce whether people would use a hard token or a soft token, as they're calling it. But then they basically reached out to Yubico, who make the YubiKey key fob authentication things, and they asked them if they'd give a discount to kernel developers. And it's a quote Linux Foundation. It says, "To our amazement and gratitude, Yubico went well above that and well above and beyond the simple discount and offered to donate 100 YubiKeys to all Linux kernel developers who currently hold accounts at kernel.org." Now, when you read that sentence, the way it's written, you could assume they've given 100 keys to every developer.
Yeah,
because that's the way. To donate 100 keys to all developers, it says, all Linux kernel developers. So what they should say is they mean a key each.
Better writers at the Linux Foundation. This whole thing is like rambling, and if you write something like this, you encapsulate all the important information in the first paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
First rule of news writing, which also goes for PR, I think. They need better writers over there. But then I'm not applying because all those running after your desk on a treadmill.
Yeah, you have to use a desk with a treadmill.
Fucking Jim Zeppelin goes, "Oh yeah, Fab, I don't like him today. It just increases walking."
Jim Zeppelin, you mean? Jim Zeppelin, as opposed to Led Zeppelin, yeah. Anyway, so
member of Led Zeppelin.
Jim Zeppelin, yeah, I believe he's the unknown fifth member of Led Zeppelin. He formed the band years ago with Dave Led, and they called it Led Zeppelin. So anyway, so it says we've looked at the options available in Gitolite, which is the Git repository management solution they use. Yeah, and they found a way that allows them to trigger additional checks when someone is performing a task, such as a Git push.
I'm triggering a check, motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm triggering the check. I'm triggering the fuck out of this check. So that's what they're going to do.
You're triggering a check, I'm triggering a poll.
Yeah. I was thinking, yeah, they trigger a check, you trigger a credit card. That's the Chicago way. Anyway, so never mind. So that's quite cool. They're going to, they're going to use more secure authentication for kernel developers. So that can't be a bad thing.
But I love this Bullenschluck stuff. It's amazing.
I can tell you're clearly quite pissed already.
It's from Niedersachsen somewhere. You can actually, I found a place where you can buy it in Hanover, which is great. It's got 43%. But it doesn't taste like it. It basically tastes
43%?
like
43%?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! No wonder you're hammered. Have you drunk half of that bottle?
No, I didn't. Not now.
Right. Jesus. I was going to say. I thought it was like a beer. I didn't think it was like a whiskey.
It's way too nice. It's medicine. That's the problem. It's like whiskey, which I'm used to drink, but it tastes like medicine. You're just sipping on it. It's like, oh, it's doing me good. Oh fuck, I'm drunk.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fair enough. I'll be staging an intervention very soon. So, so sticking with the Linux kernel, LinuxCon is on at the moment, which is the Linux Foundation's Linux conference.
They lie to people. It's a thing where they con people out of money.
Yeah. It's a Linux con. Yeah.
That would be a good movie.
What, got like Torvalds 11. That doesn't really work, does it?
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone.
Well, they'd have to start numbering from 0 because they're geeks, so it'd have to be like Torvalds 10. That works. It's alliterative. Torvalds 10. You know, like Greg KH, Ched Cho. I don't know, all like the subsystem maintainers and stuff. Anyway.
Petring.
Petring.
Petring. Leonard Petring is the outsider.
Yes, yeah.
Greg Crow-Hartman as Lurch.
As the tall dude.
Yeah.
For that crucial scene where they need to get something off a high shelf. Greg's there to go, oh, you want this?
The boss.
As the man on the running desk, running to the casino in his desk. In the getaway desk.
Jim Led Zeppelin Zemlin.
Yeah, I do like the idea of them all getting away on Linus's desk as he runs. Like, fire up the getaway desk! Anyway, so meanwhile, back at the Linus Torvalds news, LinuxCon's on at the moment, and obviously it's run by the Linux Foundation, so the likes of Linus Torvalds, who's employed by the Linux Foundation, has to go. He's been involved with lots of panel discussions and stuff with other developers, and he was on a panel with Greg Crow-Hartman. Moderated by Greg Crow-Hartman, I should say, Greg KH. And apparently, so Greg Crow-Hartman apparently said during the discussion, Linux already runs everywhere. And then he asked Linus Torvalds where he thought Linux should run next, or should go next. And Linus replied with the awesome reply, I still want the desktop.
I think he said, I still want the desktop!
Yeah. Like Brian Blessed. Torvald, he said apparently the
planet the inhabitants call Earth.
Yeah. Gordon's alive. Anyway,
it's an operating system called Linux.
Yeah. Gordon's alive. Anyway, apparently he said, I still want the desktop, and at which point the audience erupted into applause.
What he actually meant is he's running after his fucking desk. He wants his desk, finally.
Yeah, maybe that's what he means. Yeah.
He's like, I've been running after it for years now.
Yeah, possibly. So he said the challenge on the desktop is not a kernel problem, Torvald said. He said it's a whole infrastructure problem. I think we'll get there one day. Interesting. So he also discussed testing of the kernel and testing things like drivers and so on with like real physical hardware, which is a problem for the developers because they don't have every piece of hardware under the sun in there.
They don't. Bastards.
Sadly not, no. Yeah, he said he sees a need to encourage the Linux user community to be part of testing new kernels. He says there's only one way we'll find the strange hardware quirks. Most developers have something modern, and the rest of the world has older stuff. What he means is, we need more testers, basically, more input from people. And finally, he said the issue of code.
Shitty hardware, specifically.
Yeah, or strange hardware, or different hardware. He said the issue of kernel bloat was also addressed, and he basically said that in answer to people saying the Linux kernel's becoming bloated and so on, he said he'd love the kernel to shrink in size. He says we've been bloating the kernel over the last 20 years, but hardware has grown faster, much like my desk. So yeah. Anyway, hardware. Well, I suppose the desk is hardware, isn't it? Anyway,
I still want my fucking desk.
I still want my desktop. It's just out of reach. Yeah.
Fento Ghost, there's Linux Con Air 1.0.
Oh, that could work quite well, couldn't it? Yeah.
Mitzi says fucking drain cleaner.
Mm-hmm. I think that's in reference to your drink that you're drinking there.
I don't know what you're talking about.
When you said it was 43%, I think that's probably what he means. Yeah. Okay, so I really thought that was some kind of beer or something. I didn't realize it was 43%, and now you're quickly slugging it down. I'm getting more and more concerned. Anyway, meanwhile, this is a German story, so you can talk about this a bit more.
See. Oh yeah. This is Linux. Now we talked about Linux. We've been covering
the Munich project.
Yeah, the Munich IT. We switched to Linux kind of thing, and the new mayor, who's a Microsoft fan, who's like, oh,
is his name really Dieter Rita? It looks like Dieter Rita. His name.
Rita, yeah.
His name's only got one difference, one letter difference. His forename and surname have only got one letter difference.
No, actually, you have the problem that most English-speaking people have. You can't tell IE from EI in German.
No, I can't. No.
Which is, in German, IE is a long I, so it's Dieter, and EI is a I, yeah. It's a I.
Didn't we have this on the
Dieter,
paperback writer
Reiter.
thing, or whatever it was?
Yeah. It's always the same thing. Anyway, so yeah, he says no. Now, the city government says what he ordered is a reevaluation of all IT. So it's not specifically against Linux.
Right.
As far as I can tell, all their fucking IT is Linux. So I don't know. So they're examining everything, costs, efficiency, because this is Germany. We gotta see how efficient everything is. Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know what this means. The only thing I know is their IT service provider. So the city basically outsourced. 2 years ago, we talked about this as well. I mean, we've been covering this, so we talked about this. They outsourced their IT department, which used to belong to city administration, into a company, which is called IT at M. So it's IT at Munich or something. I think it's Germans. We're shit at this. So we think we're so awesome with like little names and being cool and like using English words, and we're shit. But nobody realizes because they're all like they've never been out of the country. Like them being out of the country is like, oh, I've been on holiday to the UK. I've been to
France.
London. I know how it works. I know how they think over there. Let's create a name like IT at M. Itam. Maybe they're called Itam. Maybe that's it. I don't know. What the fuck? Who cares?
Itam, yeah. That looks a bit like...
So they didn't know. They didn't know this was going on. And they're the fucking IT service provider. So I think I do think this Microsoft fanboy mayor, this is my personal opinion, I don't know, he made a deal with Microsoft because they shifted their presence in Munich from the outskirts to right inside the city, and it's going to be the HQ for Germany now. Obviously brings jobs to the area and shit like that, and local politicians always care about that. God knows why. Yeah.
Well, it helps them to get votes. What most local politicians care about is getting votes.
They mostly get voted on.
Funnily enough, when people have jobs and they're doing well, and you help them do that.
But that's not what they vote local politicians for. They mostly get voted for the way their nose looks and what they said in the last speech. Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe Microsoft are paying for him to have a nose job.
Maybe.
I don't know. You never know.
I think they want to get Linux out of the city administration because it's. I mean, I talked about with this about. I can't talk. I talked with a listener about this actually today in email, and it's basically. I think he was right. He said this is a thorn in the side of Microsoft because it's been project's been going on for years. It's been publicized outside of Germany, and it's a big thing people refer to. So it's shit for Microsoft because when everybody says, well, nobody's running Linux in a professional setting, then people say, well, the whole fucking city of Munich runs on it. Well, you know how I think about Bavarians. I think the city of Munich administration is basically a big clown car, but yeah. I mean,
yeah,
other
fair
people
enough.
don't know that.
Yeah, true. I do think there's a clear agenda here, and I wouldn't be surprised if, as you said, the discussions that involved taking Microsoft's HQ to Munich and so on, although, as you said, they had an office nearby.
And paying for hookers for certain local politicians. I didn't say that. That wasn't my opinion, especially not at somebody who works for a big publishing company.
Yeah. So I think, there's definitely something going on there, and there's definitely, some kind of agenda. I think, it is a thorn in Microsoft's side to some degree that this, is still going on, because, they want to. I'm interested in the fact that the city's IT, service provider, I'm interested. I think that Microsoft obviously they do well in business and enterprise and stuff. I wonder if like a business service provider is going to be more receptive to them than, you know, a public one. I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. I think they are kind of okay with Linux because they were the guys who put it in. So
Yeah.
I think they're just IT people. They know that Linux isn't inherently more problematic than Windows. It's just, as we talked about many times before, last show, I think, the move is what hurts people.
Yeah, that's true. All right, and so moving
Like the
on.
boss that, I believe Brazil uses a lot of Linux in government. Yeah, don't tell
They
that.
do, yeah.
Yeah, don't tell that to Germans. You know that last football game, and we're not thinking very highly of Brazilians right now.
To be fair, it wasn't their IT infrastructure that collapsed. It was their defense. So, you know, that's slightly different. I would argue. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on the situation in Munich. Meanwhile, the Ubuntu shopping lens, which we talked about a while ago, this was the feature that was introduced a couple of years ago into Ubuntu, where this idea of lenses, as they call them, which are basically search tools, or searches. So you've got on the Ubuntu desktop, you've got the HUD and all this other stuff, and the idea is much like Windows 8.1 or any other Windows these days, you press a button, you start typing what you want, it suggests things, which seems to be the kind of model everyone's going for these days. And they introduced a shopping lens, which searched Amazon basically, and we had all the jokes about when we. It brings up like porn results.
Yeah, when I wrote that review, at first it was mostly a titty lens because you put in term for terminal and you got titties and like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm against that, but
Yeah,
maybe not mass market compatible there.
Well, for a company who prides itself on being family friendly or keeps going on about how family friendly they are, the porn lens is probably not a good idea. I'm sure there probably is one actually.
Oh, that would be so awesome. The porn lens is just a monocle you plug into. You know how when Google Glass came out, somebody had this idea which I thought was amazing. Just have a little screen that you plug in your smartphone into your smartphone, and it has a cord, and it's basically a monocle.
Right.
There's a porn lens. You could be watching porn.
Why does it have to be a monocle? Why wouldn't you want it in both eyes at the same time?
Because it's so much more stylish.
Fair enough.
And you can do it at work. You can concentrate with your other eye. You can like listen to people and pretend you're like following the conversation. And
they're not going to know that you're wearing a monocle. You don't normally wear a monocle. That only works if you normally wear a monocle. If you don't normally wear a monocle, they're going to go, why has he got a monocle on? That doesn't make any sense. It's not a subtle device, is it? Let's be honest.
I'm going to start wearing a monocle right now. I need to get a monocle now just to be prepared.
Start laying the groundwork.
Yes, in case this product comes out in 2 years, I need to be prepared. Oh, I've always been wearing a monocle. You said I was wearing 2 years ago.
I've got myself a hot monocle. Yeah. Anyway. So anyway, we all
better than the hot tile.
That's not bad, yeah. We all remember the fuss over that anyway at the time, and many people have been
the hot monocle.
Not over the hot monocle, over the shopping lens. A lot of people were upset with this, obviously, and some people even upset enough to try and get formal legal proceedings.
I'm deaf on 1 ear. All of a sudden, I wonder if it's all the alcohol.
It might be, yeah. Or it might be your monocle or something. Maybe your monocle's on too tight. Yeah. So this guy, is it Luis de Souza or something? There we go, Luis de Souza. He got very upset with this, and he launched a petition addressed at Canonical, trying to get them to basically look at the privacy concerns around the shopping lens, and the petition got some attention, but he says if it was eventually signed by 57 individuals, that doesn't sound like a lot.
That's a huge success.
No, it doesn't sound like a lot, does it? Anyway, and he delivered it to Canonical, which I'm sure on the back of a postage stamp or something with all those 57 thingies. But anyway, so he basically tried to get the Information Commissioner's Office, which is part of the government, like a watchdog, to look at the fact that the Ubuntu shopping lens, he said, was invading people's privacy. After this long process of 2 years, basically the bottom line, the result here, as I could see it, as he's posted on his blog, was he got this reply from the IOC, which said that in the 2 years since he lodged the complaint, or the 2 years since they launched this feature, the changes that Ubuntu have made, the Ubuntu project have made to to the shopping lens, means that it's perfectly compliant with UK privacy law. And he says this means it wasn't compliant when it was launched, and he sees that as a victory. I don't really understand.
Well, he's right on the
hollow victory, though. There's a hollow victory.
No, he isn't right on the victory. I don't know about that, but he's right on it wasn't legal when it launched.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think I said that originally, that I doubt it's legal, but anyway. Meanwhile, GCHQ is sucking down the whole internet for all those 2 years.
Yeah, true. That's very true. So I don't know. I thought that was a bit of a hollow kind of end to the story, really. It doesn't strike me as a great picture.
Has anybody asked Canonical what their stance is on, providing access to intelligence services and lawful interception, stuff like that?
I have no idea. Possibly.
Maybe a journalist should do that.
Well, there you go. You can do that, yeah. If only we knew one. Meanwhile, LMDE, Linux Mint Debian Edition, they've moved to Debian Stable. They were basing on testing, I think, wasn't it? Testing branch. And they've moved to the Debian Stable branch, which means all the software is going to be really fucking old. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does. I mean, they're being conservative. They moved their main edition to LTS only, Ubuntu, and now this is Stable only.
I found it, to be fair, I mean, I love Linux Mint in its many forms, and I have done for a long time. I don't want to upset anyone in the Linux Mint project, but they need to sort out the stability of Debian Edition for me, because I couldn't get it to fucking install properly. It just broke every time I tried. I tried like 3 or 4 times on this laptop.
It's kind of like the red-headed
It was the same thing. What would happen is I would plug it in, I plug in the USB stick, boot it up, install it, great. And then it says I need to do like 400 megabytes of updates or something. So you go, all right, fair enough. And then I would let it do that, and then it was fucked after that. It was just every time it did the updates, it broke the whole system. And I thought, well, what do? Do I either not do the updates and live within a really old system, or it just didn't make sense. So in the end, I went back to the normal.
Like 20 years ago.
Yeah, but that at the time they were based on Debian testing. Debian? So you what? Sorry. How old is Debian? Isn't it 92 or something around there?
Yeah, so maybe like 15 years ago. I don't know.
Hang on. Quickly, let me Google that for you.
I'm now 31 years old. I'm having a midlife crisis.
Really?
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm looking it up. Here we go. It's coming up now. My internet's not loading.
Wait, give me a second.
1993.
Damn, the jingle. I need the jingle. Here. Let me have a jingle with that. Oh, it doesn't work if I don't. It's not. Fuck.
Oh, something gone seriously wrong. Oh, here we go.
That's just a slider.
Yep, I looked it up on the old Google machine, and it's quite a deal he's got going on here. It could turn into something really big.
There you go, just like a half a minute too late.
You know what they say? Comedy's all about timing. That's all I will say. It would have been funny if it had happened a bit earlier. So, 1993 apparently. I thought it was a little bit older than that, but maybe not. It said it was first released or first announced in 93, but the first stable release didn't come until 96. I didn't know there was that much of a gap.
Yeah, sounds like Debian.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fair point, yeah. It says the first stable release was made in 96. The second stable release was made in 2006. No. Anyway, never mind. I think that covers most of our news so far. So should we talk about
some of the stuff? News.
Yeah, go on. Tell us.
I want to thank.
Tell us about this crazy mind-rotting poison that you're drinking.
Yeah, I want to thank Ingolf Schäfer, Dr. Ingolf Schäfer, I believe, as his letter said, from the University of Bremen, in northern Germany, who sent me Bullenschluck, which I'll put a link in the show notes. It's a liquor thing. It's made for getting animals on their feet, and it says you can also use it for humans. I think he sent it to me because I still have the cold. I'm fighting it with this stuff. And I don't know if it's just because I'm drunk, but I feel better. It's good stuff.
Congratulations, you're now drunk and you still have a cold.
Exactly. I'm gonna run out of this really soon, so I'm gonna have to buy more. It's awesome. And it's called Bullenschluck, so it's kind of like der letzte Bulle.
Right.
Mick Briscoe style. It fits together perfectly. It's good stuff. He sent it to my work. He was like, where can I send it? It's like, you can send it to Heise because I'll get it there. And they wanted to take it off me, the fuckers.
Who did?
Well,
Heise.
Because first of all, I can't drink there, but that wasn't the reason. The reason was that we can't take gifts from, like, we get gifts, like, you know, journalists get gifts from companies to, like, kind of
and they thought it was through, right.
And Heise has this really strict policy that we can't, like, basically everything we get given goes in a big tombola for Christmas and then gets sold off.
Yeah. Well, I can see why, because it's the journalistic integrity
thing.
thing.
They can't take the fucking alcohol from me that I get from LO. That's what I told them. You do this, you can take that, you can take the fucking alcohol.
You pry it from my cold, dead hands.
Take my love, take my land, but you can't take the fucking alcohol from me. Yeah, that was good. And then I have to thank Caesius. I forgot about this last show because I don't know, was I drunk? I don't think so. But Caesius sent me a beer that's called Chop Fab. I think that's Austrian, and it means Kopf up means cut somebody's off with his head, basically.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not. Chop means
it's like basically chop his head off.
Okay.
But it says Fab, and it was delicious. I actually drank it that was the week before my birthday, but like the in-laws were over, and I drank that, and it was awesome. Yes,
chop.
People sending me alcohol is good. Very
well.
good.
It saves you having to buy it, I suppose. Although don't send it to your work because apparently that's not allowed.
Well, you sent the beer to my work as well. You can. I'll just wrestle them. I won't let them take my alcohol off me. It's bad enough that you can't drink on the job. Which is what journalists used to do. Like, it's a fucking tradition. But they're like, no, you can't do that. It's like, not like I could use it.
All right. So one thing I've noticed from all of this is that you're getting a lot of free beer and alcohol and other things sent to you that I'm not getting. So what the fuck, people?
Well, basically, do you have a Whois, right?
A what? A Whois? Yeah.
You've got danlynch.org. That's got your address on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're geek. You're geeks, people. Like all the UK people, do a Whois on danlynch.org and send them some.
You could send it to my work actually, because there's no way they're going to take that off me. Because they don't give a shit. Because I don't work for a journalistic organization. Anyway, so let's talk about some emails that we had.
I want to thank. I did before, but thanks to everyone providing news tips via news.sixgun.org. That helps because most of the day I'm like working, and the rest of the day I'm drunk or on a motorcycle. And
to be fair, your work does involve looking at tech news, though. So there is that.
But I am having a problem that I'm looking at way too much security news these days for this show. So it helps when people send me stuff. Like worst case scenario, I already know about it, and I'll ignore it.
And you'll get some abuse. No, you won't. You'll get a ranting, abusive email going, "I fucking know this."
Yeah, no, I don't do that. I don't have time for that anymore.
Good.
These days.
So please keep sending us your email and your news tips and stuff. Speaking of emails, we had one from Greg Poulter who says, I came across this website. It's http://shaming.tumblr.com.
Oh, yeah. We wrote about that. Well, we put it, and then we have this thing called Lost and Found. Which Heise Security does at the end of the week, where we put all the stuff in we didn't get around to write about, or that wasn't important enough for full story or something. And yeah, we had that as well.
Okay. So HTTP shaming, which I haven't really looked at, I'm just looking at it now. It says it's a website set up by software engineer Tony Webster, to name and shame software companies who have very lax to no security for users. He says, I noticed that Alfred was in the list and remembered you mentioned it on episode 357, Space Laser Internet. Apparently, but I mean, I don't know if that's fair or not that they're on that list. Who knows? So he also says, let me find the rest of the email. He also says, I've been using a new browser, which I think is fantastic. It's called Aviator from White Hat Security Labs. It's based on Chromium.
I heard about that, yeah.
Yeah, it's based on Chromium, apparently. It says their FAQ sums it all up. Okay, let me have a look at this. Aviator, it says it's only available for Windows and Mac at the moment, but hopefully the Linux version will be available soon. And he also said he hopes that his monthly Flatter helps out, which it does.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, very much thanks. And we need to mention that a lot more. The people of Flatter, they help a lot. I mean, we run... The main 600.org is sponsored now by Bytemark, but we do run the Discourse stuff. Libsyn and all that kind of stuff, so that it really helps. Aviator, I haven't had time to look at it. I came across it at some point, and I'm not sure if it's like I can't, based on their description, I couldn't decide if it was snake oil or if it was actually.
Yeah, I'm just going to say that reading this, I think you could sum this browser up with one sentence. It's always in porn mode.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea. Which that's good.
That should be their slogan. It's Aviator. It's always in porn mode.
They should rename it, though. I don't know why it's called Aviator then. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a strange one. So it says, with every
I want that for my hot monocle.
Hot monocle, yeah. With every website you visit, you're vulnerable to malicious hackers out to steal your surfing history, passwords, email access, bank accounts, yada, yada, yada. It says the big browsers don't do enough to stop it. But now you can protect yourself before you go on the web by using White Hat Aviator, the web's most secure.
It should be called Condom, based on that introduction.
With White Hat Aviator, you get the industry's best and tightest security and privacy safeguards, all built in, all activated, all ready to go. It's only available for Windows on Mac.
Breitling Watch, are they? Or what?
It sounds a little bit like they're selling you a browser where they've put the porn mode on. To me, I don't know. Maybe there's more to it than that.
Porn mode is good.
Yeah, it maybe there's more to it. I don't know. I'm not that familiar with White Hat Security Labs. Depends how.
So I was doing research today about a you know how Amazon bought Twitch, and apparently it was a story about Twitch presenters and it's like women who get abused, and then it's like women who like basically show their cleavage on Twitch and get views, and there was one who she like commentates Dota.
Really?
Just now, but she used to
be. Is Dave a big fan?
Well, I don't know. I'll have to ask him. He's fucking camping in the middle of nowhere, fucking Germany, and not close to me.
Running people over in his murder train.
Yeah. It's fucking murder train. That's it. Dave's murder train.
Yeah.
This is just like every gag's a show title. It's amazing. Maybe it's because I'm drunk.
It probably is, yeah.
Talking about, she used to be Brazilian. She's Brazilian. She used to be a porn star. And she talks about Dota on Twitch.
Wow. Interesting change.
For some reason I was... Oh, yeah, then I looked her up on Wikipedia. And apparently she got the a prize. There's a prize apparently you can get from like Porn Association, which is best ass.
Really?
Oh. Yeah, that must be a great trophy. It's just like
I know they have. Yeah, they do have like that version.
It's like an Emmy, it's like a big silver ass or something.
I know they have a version of like the Oscars for the porn industry. You know, arguably I don't think it's quite the same as the Oscars, but they do definitely have all their.
Is this prize presented by what's his face? Robert De Niro. He's got a great ass.
That's Al Pacino.
That guy.
How drunk are you? That's Al Pacino. He had a great ass. Yeah. Exactly. Anyway,
I want that prize. That's a new. I want that award. That's a new goal in my life.
Well, you're gonna have to quit your job at Heiser and get into the porn industry for a start.
I don't know. Can't you do that on the side?
No. Well, I don't know. I mean,
Doesn't take that much time. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's backpedaling.
well,
People.
maybe. I don't know. I mean, considering they won't let you have alcohol at work, are they going to let you go off to do porn in your lunch break? I've just got to go and do nip out for a bit. I'll be back. Yeah. Anyway,
It's worth a try.
give it a go. Yeah.
Fucking worth it.
I suspect they'll realise. Anyway, so thanks to Greg for that one. I haven't looked at Aviator much, but it doesn't strike me as a fantastic project. I don't know. Maybe I just don't know enough about it. So
The next one as well. I haven't been reading my emails. I don't know. It's Remy Van Alst talking about shells, like the one he's collecting on the beach or something.
Yeah, I cut this down quite a lot. It was a long email.
Really?
I did.
As long as it
It's long as it
is.
is, and I already cut it down. Yeah. So it was long. To be fair, at the end he said it would be like the first chapter of his novel at the end of the email, which I cut off. So he says,
Long Journey Down, Shell Edition, Chapter 1.
Yeah. So where are we now? Yeah. So we had a chat. I think recently. Someone asked us about shells and which ones we like, and we were just basically
when we get this feedback and we talk about it, and it like we don't basically give a fuck, and then it spawns all this other feedback for like shows. It's like episode after episode. There's feedback on the feedback by the feed. It's like the listeners doing their own show.
Well, that's good.
It's kind of cool. I like it. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's just weird.
I like that.
To watch.
Oh, hang on. I think someone sent us. Wow. Have a look at it. You can look at that. Someone sent us a picture in. So you will know. Vantergorth. This is back on the topic of great asses and trophies. It's a picture. It's a trophy, and it's in the
browser right now. It's just
Christ, are you using Aviator or something?
I'm using Firefox.
Engage porn mode. Yeah. So
it's taking ages to load.
Oh,
but
Christ! Anyway.
That is a good trophy.
Yeah. So that could we'll put a link in the show notes or something. That could be the great ass trophy.
Great ass! Can you put a link in the show notes? I've got the show notes on another computer and I can't.
Hold on. Copy image to location. I'm doing that right now.
Reading out things we do live on the show. Copy image.
There you go. I've put it in the show notes. It's now actually showing the picture as well because I've forgotten it does that.
Nice.
All right, so back to Remy's email. Yeah, we talked about shells and so on. He says, I've switched between multiple shells and used them for long periods of time. I've settled on Bash with some customizations to Bash RC that resemble features of OhmyZsh. I don't know how you pronounce that. That I like. Yeah. He says, I've been around too long to have been forced to use CSH. Fuck that shit. Actually, this email is quite funny. I remember there's some funny bits in it. It says, only if you're a hipster Ruby developer with a ball clamp and a taser up your ass will you enjoy CSH or TCSH, which I think he pronounces tush. I think he says no pun intended there. Those are the actual requirements in the man page.
Was this written by Leonard?
Yeah, maybe. Wait till you see how angry he gets later on. Anyway, so then...
Is he drinking while he writes this? I like it.
Know, yeah.
I like this man.
He's clearly not smoking enough Dutch weed because you should be more chilled out. Anyway, so he says then ZSH, or ZSH, I can't pronounce that. I used both custom.zsh RC and OhmyZsh based config. Okay, nice shell, good for interactive use, scripting meh. It's never installed by default anywhere, and for a sysadmin.
Reviews with Remy, I like it.
Yeah, angry shell reviews. So he says, and for a sysadmin, it's important to work on or with the lowest common denominators. So basically, yeah, he said it's never installed anywhere, so there's not much point in writing scripts for it. He says RAM usage was a big problem apparently with this ZSH. He said it was using 60 to 90 megabytes per instance of the shell.
For a shell?
Yeah, per instance of the shell on Mac OS and Linux as well. He said he uses a lot of shells at once, a lot of tabs, and it quickly adds up.
How many shells is he using? That sounds amazing.
I don't know, but it says then Bash. I've got the following features in my Bash RSH, which I've copied from OhmyZsh. He says unlimited history, so you can go back. All shells share history. Every command is available in every open shell. Context-specific history. When I type vim and press the up arrow, it will show me the latest command starting with vim and not the previous command I entered, whatever that might be.
That's just weird.
Git status in PS1.
Oh, that's amazing. I need that. How do you do that? Write in, tell me. I want that.
Just nice to see the branch/tag and folder I'm in. Okay, that's cool. In the folder I'm in, sorry. It says each bash process takes about 1 to 3 megabytes of RAM, which is way more workable than 90 megabytes per. So I'm settling for bash, and I like it. It says this is the other bit. So the only issue I sometimes have with custom shit is when other admins set Emacs as the default shell, and when you open.
I hate those people. I fucking hate those people.
Well, wait. You'll like the rest of this.
These people.
I think you'll like the rest of this. He says, when you then edit cron, it opens up in Emacs instead of Vim or Nano. I then proceed to a special room, dress up in a Church of Emacs robes, pray to RMS, and sacrifice a goat or two. As in, that seems the only way to get Emacs to close. Then I find the admin who set. Hang on, wait till this. Then I find the admin who set Emacs as default, call him up Liam Neeson style, come to him /her down, take a rusty hacksaw to the top phalanx of their fingers, and wash the blood off with salty water, proceeding to push the wounded fingertips into half-cut lemons just for the joy of it, to make sure that they never do such a horrible thing again. It says, if they ever do it again, well, we all know how many phalanxes he's put you have per finger, so they can only make this mistake a maximum of 4 times. And it says at the end, disclaimer, for the record, the situation sketched above is a joke. Nobody uses Emacs. We all know nobody uses Emacs, and I won't attack someone's fingers. So please don't drone me, NSA. Yeah.
That's amazing. I've got a very particular set of skills.
Yeah,
and you fucking use Emacs, so I'm gonna hunt you down.
I was thinking you could be more like, I've got a very particular bash RC. I've got a very particular bash RC. It makes me a nightmare for people like you. Anyway, so thank you to Remy for that angry email about shells, which was a bit odd.
That was brilliant. We need more of that. We need shell reviews with Remy. Angry shell reviews.
Angry shell reviews. Anyway, so
your next thing you should review is what is a fish? Was that thing the other? What is that? Fish?
Yeah, fish. That's right. Yeah.
Fish. Yeah. Review that next.
Yeah, I almost want to use that shell just to have a voice command so I can go fish, and it brings up like a Terminator, a Terminator shell type thing.
Instead of okay Google, just have fish. You're wearing Google Glass, you're like fish. Take a picture.
Today's fish is trout a la creme.
That was a brilliant email. It was one of the best emails we got in a while. Torrin Doyle, I remember that one. I read that one. He asks, what were our first computers? This was a C64.
Commodore 64, yeah.
Yeah, you?
Me, yeah. Well, I'll go first if you like. Well, it depends on how specific you want me to be. So, if you mean the first computer I used, it would have been a Spectrum ZX81, which wasn't mine. It was my brother's. Because he was older than me and old enough to have a Spectrum at the time. So, yeah, we had a ZX81, but that was his computer, and I didn't own it or really get to use it that much. It was when he was out I could kind of get in there. But the first computer I ever owned of my own was an Amstrad CPC 6128, which had a 3.5-inch floppy drive, which in the time was like revolutionary. Nothing had that shit, especially not built in. And I used to, play a lot of games on it at the time, I seem to remember. I'll put a link in the show notes if anyone wants to look at it. It was, looking back at it now, I was getting all nostalgic when I saw some pictures of it today. So it had a whopping 128 kilobytes of RAM, an internal 3.5-inch floppy drive. Okay, so it was released in August 1985. And it was finished by 1990. So I think I got it somewhere in the middle, like 87, 88 maybe. When I was quite young, I got an Amstrad, which it was okay. It got me into computing, I suppose.
Well, I think in '89 when I turned 7, or in the Christmas of '89, I think I was 7. I got my uncle. I was working for NCR. Which now they basically do cash registers, but they used to do computers and stuff. And I got a IBM PC 286. That was my first computer. It was huge.
It had a 20 megabyte hard drive and a 21-inch orange phosphor monitor.
Nice.
And that thing wasn't only, it was like 21-inch, but it was like 3 meters deep.
Yeah, it would be. CRTs are huge.
It weighed like, it was like twice as heavy as me when I was 7, I think. First game I played was Prince of Persia, the original one.
I played that actually, yeah.
Test drive. Accolade Summer Olympics things.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Very cool.
Awesome.
So I hope that answers the question. So thank you to Torin for that one. Charles sent an email, which, to be honest, I think was just a bit of trolling. But it says, "Hi guys, I'm just wondering if you'll be reviewing the impending release from Redmond, Windows 9," and he spelled 9 N-E-I-N. Windows 999. Yeah.
I'll encounter it at work.
Possibly.
I will rant about it at length.
Yeah, we probably will. We'll see. Thanks to Charles for that one. Keelan Downton sent us an email saying, I'm a big fan of Linux Outlaws. I wanted to share the game I've been working on for the past couple of years with some friends of mine. It's a... Pardon me, I just burp in the middle of that. And you're the one who's been drinking as well. You should be burping, not me. He says, it's a Western steampunk-themed... Maybe that's what it is. He says, it's a Western steampunk-themed shooter where you battle through an alternate history landscape as inheritor of the Tumbleweed Express, a steam-powered train beset by mechanical foes and airships led by the ominous Dirigibaus. How do you say that? I don't know. Dirigibaus?
Fucking idea.
Anyway, so it says,
boys.
Yeah, who's built a trade empire in the American West. He says, we're launching a Kickstarter on September the 2nd for the resources to finish it. So it would be great if you could mention it on the show. There's a playable demo at Dirigiballers. It's Dirigiballers, or just go to
kind of indie game developers. They did a game jam, which this game came out of.
Okay, Tumbleweed Express. I'm waiting for it to load. Oh, it's quite cool. Yeah, I like it. So there's a video on there.
That just reminds me, like Ballers. Just reminds me of the gang in GTA.
Yeah, the Ballers. Yeah. They should be wearing purple outfits. Anyway, so it says, I've even managed to corner the train's former owner, Sneaky Pete, and asked him what he thought of Six Gun Productions. Okay, interesting. It says, all the best and thanks for your thoughts on what Ferguson means on to the global community. Interesting. Sorry, on a global scale. Sorry, not global community. So it looks very cool. We'll put a link in the show notes because it's kind of hard to read out. The Rigiballers, it's the place. But the game's called Tumbleweed Express. So imagine if you search for Tumbleweed Express, you'll probably find it fairly easy. It's in alpha at the moment, apparently. So they want to try and finish it off, obviously. So go and have a look at it, and if you like it, then keep an eye out for their Kickstarter campaign, which will be starting soon. We'll put a link in the show notes. Thank you to Keelan for that one.
Cool. I'll have to look at that.
Yeah.
We had an email from Joe Burmeister, the Burmeister himself, who wrote about the Linux thing and actually replied to him. And he was talking about, I think he was talking about how they moved their main office to Munich, which I am sure I talked about.
No, we did talk about it because I edited the last show and I remember hearing that.
Yeah, right, you were editing that.
Yeah.
I wrote him back and he was like, oh, maybe I missed that. I was listening at work and maybe I
was drunk.
Or something. Well, he's drunk, I'm drunk.
I was drunk at work, I may have missed it.
Who's to blame, I know the feeling. No, I don't drink at work. Maybe.
Okay.
I
think you did say, didn't you, in response to that they basically moved from the outskirts of Munich to the centre of Munich, so it's not like they've moved from
the outskirts of town.
From France or something.
There's a song about that.
Yeah, true.
Darkness on the edge of town.
Yeah. That's true, yeah. That could be the Microsoft song. So thank you to...
Song. No, don't waste that on Microsoft. I love that song. It's a good song.
Yeah. Thank you to Joe for that. If you want to email us, you can do. You need to send your emails to linuxoutlaws@sixgun.com. sixgun.org. That's Linux Outlaws at sixgun.org. You can head over to sixgun.org where you'll find the saloon, where you can talk to people using our Discourse instance, and you can try out all kinds of other stuff. You can look at the notes. You can find out other shows on the network. You can leave comments. You can donate if you like, try and help us out. You can do all kinds of things. So go to sixgun.org and have a look at that. And on that note, I've just realized it's like nearly 10:15. It's like 10:10 in the evening. I didn't realize we must have been doing this a while. So
we started late.
Yeah, that's true. We're going to finish with a German band.
With a song.
Yeah. So they're called Scarbrot. What does brot mean in German? You can probably explain.
Bread.
Scarbread. so they're called Scarbread. Okay. Scar as in SK.
That sounds like an orc war boss from Warhammer 40k.
Yeah.
This is orc war boss Scarbrot.
Scarbrot.
Give 'em hell, boys. Space Marine.
Yeah, they're from a town called Hohenfeld, apparently.
What? What?
Hunfeld. Hohenfeld. It's got a number. It's got the HUN. Hun. HUNFELD. Feld. Hohenfeld. It'll be.
Let's see where that is. I'm firing Hohenfeld. Oh, with a U.
Yeah. I said U, didn't I?
No, you said U. That's not a U. It's a U.
Fucking hell.
Oh, that's just
around the corner.
It's along the A7. Zooming out, enhancing. Where's that? Oh, it's close to Erfurt. No, that's not around the corner.
Oh, right, okay.
But I can go there on the. Well, it's not that far. Well, the autobahn that goes by Hanover goes there as well.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, and so they're from Hohenfeld. It's a ska tune, as I mentioned, so it's very cool.
Small town. There must be the only place, You're
probably the only ska band in town, yeah, I would imagine.
That's their slogan, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, we are the biggest ska band in town.
Bielefeld is a town in the district of Fulda in Hessen, Germany. It's situated 16 kilometers northeast of Fulda. In 2000, the town hosted the 40th Hessetag State Festival. Wow, that's intriguing.
Yeah.
They've got nothing. The Wikipedia article is like, the Federal Highway B27 crosses Hünfeld from north to south. Eastbound B84 begins here. Next motorway, Autobahn A7, Flensburg to Flüssen. Next motorway, junction Hünfeld-Schlitz, AS 97 kilometers distance to city center. Hünfeld has a railway station on the Bribra-Fulda railway. The nearest intercity express stop, also known ICE, is Fulda railway station. Yeah, Dave's murder train.
The nearest Dave's murder train stop.
We're gonna rename that. I'm gonna petition Deutsche Bahn to rename the ICE to Dave's murder train. It's brilliant.
That'd be a good band name. If he ever starts like a metal band, he should call it Dave's Murder Train.
He should do that.
Oh, there you go. He should call it Dave's Murder Train. Yeah. There you go. You can have that one for free. On that note, I think we should listen to this song then and get out of here, since it sounds like there isn't that many interesting things to say about Hohenfeld.
Not really.
Never mind. Well, maybe they are the biggest band in Hohenfeld.
We'll get people right in from there. I'm positive.
Yeah, if you're from Hohenfeld, let us know, or you know someone who's from Hohenfeld, I suppose. So this is on Jamendo. This track. It's called No Scar Today. And it's pretty cool. I liked it. So
that's the next Bond movie, I believe.
Yeah, No Scar Today. No Scar Today. All right, then. So have a listen to this. This is Scarbrot with No Scar Today.
Yeah.
Yeah. We like you, German. We like you, Reggae. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, next to the A7.
Oh. Bob Marley, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, he was good. He was German, they were German.
Yeah, he was German. Hope you like German too. Anyway, so have a listen to this anyway. This is Scarbrot with No Scar Today. I hope you like it.
Sehr gut.
she said, no scar today, I didn't know just what to say. The time had come to become a man. Being one of them doesn't suit my plan. It all started too soon, I wasn't ready for this kind of a grown-up world. Where you start to work for your life, start to live for your work. What is life? You can't smile about the small things anymore. Where are you heading when you forgot how to reach out for the stars? Don't make the old mistake. Play out by rules you didn't make. There's no need to worry if I do it my own way. It started some weeks ago. Till then everything seemed to run by itself. No thoughts on the next steps. But suddenly everything changed. Now I'm solely irresponsible. And everyone keeps telling me that I can't go on like this. What is life? You can't smile about the small things anymore. Where are you heading when you forgot how to reach out for the stars? Don't make the old mistake. Play out by the rules you didn't make. There's no need to worry if I do it my own way. With every action that I do, with every choice that I make, with every way I step onto, I'll define the man I'll be. And I will do it my own way. When she said, no scar today, I didn't know what to say. The time had come to become a man. Being one of them doesn't suit my plan. It all started to suit, wasn't ready for this kind of a grown-up world. Where you stop to work for your life, start to live for your work.
I like that the bass player is basically showing off at the end there.
What is life? The German sky. I could not think I was without the sky. What is going on?
That's it.
Good. I like it.
I like that at the end of that song, the rest of the band have all finished, and the bass players are going bing, 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 bing. Yeah, got to get the last note in. Yeah, so that was Scarborough. They're pretty cool. I quite like them. That's nice.
As Fantagoth as in the IC Scarborough?
Scarborough, yeah, it sounds a bit like that. This is Scarborough with a track called
from Germany. The
Scarborough Fair.
It's time to grow up and become a man and sing about the sky in German.
In German, yeah, that would work. That would rhyme. All right, and so on that note, I think we should sign off and go do something else. So thank you everyone for listening.
I'm not doing much after this. I think I'm going right to bed.
Oh, well, that's still something else.
I'm going around Isenhagen. Party!
Okay. I know exactly what you're going to do. You're going to fire up the bike and get on the A7 down to Hoonfeld and have yourself a ska party. Get down there.
I don't think that's a good idea after like half a bottle of fucking Bullenschluck.
Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not.
I'll meet the real Bullen, and they're like, "Oh, so how are you, sir?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm
pissed.
great. I'm fucking awesome."
I need a kebab. Yeah.
Are you the kebab people?
Yeah. Can you? Can I have one kebab, please? All right, and with all the sauce. Anyway, all right. Thanks everyone for listening and watching. It's been fun as always. We'll see you next week for another Linux Outlaws, I'm sure. I'm going to stop my recorder actually while I remember, and then I'm going to kill the Icecast. Take care, everyone. I'm booting you all off the Icecast. Sorry. Bye bye.